a biologist, an anthropologist, a surveyor, and a psychologist walk into a bar. All right, I don't actually have a joke for that. So this is the book I'm talking about. This sort of awesome cosmic horror sci-fi thriller. I'm not going to explain anything type of sci-fi book. It's a lot packed into about less than 200 pages, if I'm honest with you. So the premise of this book, and I'll start with spoiler free and then jump into some spoiler territory as well, is basically there's this place called Area X. No one really knows what exactly it is, why it exists, or even how it got there, where it came from, anything like that. There is a border around it that you're introduced to at the beginning of the book when these characters go off on this expedition. So essentially the government is in charge of sending in expeditions to go do research, evaluate the settings, the surroundings, collect whatever data they can, and come back. You learn very quickly that the 4 women characters that you're following in this story, they're not given names. It's part of the protocol of this whole expedition is you don't know each other's names. So you don't even know any of these characters' names. They are literally called like the surveyor, the biologist. And the biologist is your main character that you follow throughout the book, which is cool, but also kind of makes them not real characters in certain ways. I'll get to it. Overall, the book is super fascinating, though. And the introduction premise to this of they're sent out on this expedition. They're not really sure why they're there once they get there, other than like the mission that they're there for. They're supposed to go toward the lighthouse, and the whole map that they're given is really emphasizing on this lighthouse that exists. It seems like they're almost on wheels on like a track to like go do what you're supposed to do. Don't ask questions, just go collect data and come back. They all have obviously their special skill sets, and very quickly you find out many things are not what they seem. It doesn't take long because again, it's about a 200-page book. The pace picks up quickly on giving you information while not explaining much to you, and a lot happens in a very short period of time. So what's really interesting and cool about this, though, because you're effectively being told from the perspective of the biologist. So you're really only getting her side of these events. And there's a lot of trippy things that happen. There's a lot of, is this being done by an alien? Am I being manipulated? Is there something happening here that's not really what I'm seeing? There's hypnosis that takes place. That's a really pivotal part of the book as well. They very quickly, this isn't really a spoiler, they find like a tower. It's not on the map. They argue back and forth even about like what to call it. Is it a tunnel? Is it a tower? And they're weirdly interested in calling it one or the other. The spores or like the fungus in this area affect one character more so than others in different ways. And you very quickly learn and unravel this sort of mystery of like, why are these expeditions going out there? What is their purpose? Why can they not communicate with the outside world? Why can't they know each other's names? Why does it seem like they're being lied to or misled in several different areas, up into the point where you learn about previous expeditions and they're not even given technology when they go out on these expeditions, which immediately red flags are going up like, okay, this is either some kind of like experiment or something is weird with being sent into an expedition with very rudimentary technology. They're given they're given firearms, but they're like old. They're like decades old equipment. They're not allowed a compass. They can't have a cell phone. They can't have computers. They're basically given a journal and some rudimentary technology to do their jobs. So it's almost like they're hamstrung from the beginning, and you're never really told why. There are like revelations throughout this book, but you're ultimately not given explanations to a lot of things. And I both appreciate that and sort of dislike it in a way, because I don't want the answers given to me in the first book. I don't want it spoon-fed to me, but also give me something, because Jeff VanderMeer goes out of his way to almost leave everything up for interpretation to, I don't want to say the detriment to some of the story elements, but I wish there was a little bit more to go off of and not be quite as ambiguous as a lot of it is. But overall, that also makes her an incredibly interesting and creepy story in a way, because again, like, I didn't even know until after I read this that it was considered a horror novel. It's certainly thrilling, and books don't generally scare me anyway, but I wouldn't have even compared this to like a straight horror book. There are certainly horrific elements to things that happen, like descriptions of things are certainly creepy. In chilling, horror, not really, but like there's so many things that I went into this book and I was immediately invested. Like the premise, the sales pitch for this book, I was like, yes, let's go. And halfway through, I was theory crafting. I was like, oh, I think this is where this is going. And, oh, that means this, and this means that. I was so wrong on everything because none of that shit's explained. And that's why by the end of it, I was just like, what? Like, you're not going to get answers to a lot of things in this novel. And I both appreciate that and it frustrates the hell out of me because I believe it was supposed to be a trilogy, and then there's a fourth book that he came back and did like a prequel of. So I'm definitely going to continue reading because I want to understand more. But TLDW, great short little novel. Again, it's 200 pages. You're going to fly through this in at most a day or two. I think it took me 2 days just because kids, work, whatever. It's super quick. If you're a fast reader, you're going to take no time to get through this. It ramps up quickly. It doesn't really let up outside of our main character starts to bounce back and forth in between scenes of like talking about her previous life before the expedition and then current events as it's happening. There's a reason for it, obviously, in the narrative of the story, but that kind of slows things down here and there. But really, like, my only critiques are I didn't necessarily care about her that much as a character, and especially not the other characters, because they're not really characters. Like, they're almost just there to move the plot along because, again, they're not given names, they're not given POVs. It's a 200-page book. You can't really build that much character work in that, and even the biologist that you follow isn't that fleshed out of a character, in my opinion. But it's super intriguing and interesting, and I don't know that I've read anything like this. Like, you read something like Dark Matter, and it's very much like a sci-fi thriller, but it does give you the answers, and you can kind of see where it's going, and you can tell that, like, this is meant to be adapted to film, which Annihilation also was, but as I've understood it, it's, like, entirely different than the book, so I'm not even going to go there. But overall, man, it's very interesting. You're not going to get a lot of answers. It's weird and thrilling and chilling in certain aspects. Again, I don't think it was scary, so I wouldn't call it horror, but whatever this entity is or whatever caused Area X to even exist and potentially expand and like terraform whatever this part of this world is, it's weird. It's out there. There's like some body horror stuff in this. I don't know. It's super cool. So definitely go read it. That's my recommendation. I am going to jump into some spoiler stuff here just for a couple minutes to talk about some more like actual plot points that happen. So if you haven't read the book and you don't want to get spoiled, go ahead and hop off now. Let's talk a little bit of spoilers. So like even from the jump, like right before they go across the border to get into Area X, like the biologist describes like the room she's in. It's just like a white room with a chair and straps. So like suspect immediately. It's just like, okay, you don't have a name in this. You're going out on an expedition to do this thing. Like, this is what we're telling you. I promise. Like, we're being honest. They're already immediately told, like, there was supposed to be a linguist with you. She's not coming. That's kind of weird considering, like, the entire plot could have used a linguist, and I'm sure that was by design, which, again, immediately made me jump to, like, are they being messed with? Like, my mind immediately went to, like, is this similar to Silo or Fallout, where someone's pulling the strings behind the scenes of like, this is an experiment. They're being sent in there with rudimentary equipment. They're meant to fail. They're just a human experiment. That's where I immediately went to. Like, they're being lied to. The whole hypnosis thing, like the psychologist, when she snaps during that scene, like right after the biologist gets the fungus in her nose and she's freaking out, like she doesn't want to tell anybody that she's probably infected with something. And then the psychologist hits them with that moment of hypnosis and she has to play along and act like she's being hypnotized when she clearly isn't, but the other women are. And they're saying, like, you didn't see the tower. What you think is the tower, like, it's just made of stone, whatever. It's not, like, whatever it actually is. So immediately I was like, oh shit, like the hypnosis thing, that's crazy. And then later on when it comes back again, which the name of the book is a command. So like when the biologist gets to the light tower and like what the hell is with the light tower? First of all, like it's fortified. There's dead people everywhere. They're stacking hundreds of journals there, which again, like clearly these people have been lying to you. There hasn't been 12 expeditions. There's been dozens, hundreds. There's tons of journals. They're molding. They're rotting. They've been there for a long time. And you see that like even Expedition 11 that had the biologist's husband, he found that. And like all the previous expeditions obviously found the lighthouse at some point. I know I'm jumping around, but like, and they go beyond the lighthouse and there's like an endless like oasis that's never explained. So then I'm like, oh, this is like a simulation or something. And like, none of this is correct, or at least not yet. I don't know. Like I was theorizing left and right and nothing was correct. But like she gets to the psychologist and like finds her body and I thought she was dead, but no, she's alive. And then she wakes up and just starts screaming annihilation. And she's just like, are you trying to hypnotize me right now? She's like, oh, like that was supposed to induce suicide. I'm like, what the fuck is happening? Which makes sense when you remember that like, oh, whatever expedition before, they all killed each other. So that was probably a hypnosis tactic to make them happen, make that happen. Another expedition, they all committed suicide. Like, okay, there's literally annihilation. That's command. Weird things are never explained. Like her husband's expedition, like they all came back with cancer and they're basically shells of themselves. So I thought they were like lobotomized or something. And then like she calls, the pickup line and they take him away and then he's dead. There's so many weird, unexplained things. And you have the crawler that, a linguist would have been great because it's writing stuff on the walls and in this living organism that is the tower. And then like she sees the lighthouse keeper's face in it. And like the dolphin has like human eyes and whatever is weeping in the night is making like human sounds. So there's weird, I don't even know. It's like terraforming the planet. It's like creating doppelgangers, which was explained in Expedition 11's journal. There's weird body horror stuff of like, is this thing resurrecting people and putting them into animals? Like, what the fuck is happening in this book? Like the anthropologist mysteriously left the expedition and then you find her down in the tower and just like the description of what she looked like in her dead body was just gnarly. And then like when the biologist goes one-on-one with like the crawler and just seeing all these visions and the crawler is like inside her mind and making her feel like she's burning and drowning and just like, what? Like that stuff had me so intrigued and confused. But then what kind of annoyed me, one was when she got back to the camp and like the surveyor just tried to kill her. Like that felt kind of anticlimactic and forced a little bit. I wish there was a little bit more like development there, which is partially the issue with the short story. It's like it's 200 pages. You're following the biologist. There's not enough time in this book to do a lot of like fleshing out of ideas. Which kind of helps keep it vague and ambiguous, but at the same time, like I kind of wish there was more to it. But like it very quickly, to me, it felt like the ending sort of wrapped up rather quick after she interacts with the crawler, and then she's like back at the lighthouse, and she's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna stay here." And I'm just thinking, one, I was like, "Well, why would you ever stay here? This place is a nightmare world." But then I'm like, okay, well, if you go back, like, the government's probably going to kill you, or like, are they monitoring this? Like, I have so many questions about this entire setup. Like, when do they send out another expedition? They have to understand that like the psychologist and like their hypnosis didn't work on her and they haven't come back. Are they eventually going to send in another expedition to find them? Like, are we going to get government POV next book? Like, I have no clue what to expect out of whatever is happening in this series or what the crawler is. Like, is it going to dominate the world? Because it doesn't seem like it's an intelligent organism, but it's not trying to, like, it's not evil. It's not like trying to kill them. It's almost like it's just there and just exists. And they're like trotting around its territory now. And it might turn you into a dolphin human bear wailing in the night. It might kill you. It might create a doppelganger. Like, who the hell knows? Yeah, so I mean, ultimately, it was super weird and trippy and out there. I appreciate the book for that, just being different. I wish we had gotten some explanations to something. Like, I feel like nothing was explained. And obviously that's intentional. And I'm glad that information isn't spoon-fed to you in this book at all. It's very much like, interpret this now. I'm intrigued. I'm going to keep reading this series. I think I'm going to go pick up book 2 rather quickly and see if it gives you any answers at all, because I'm invested enough now to just be like, give me some kind of answer. I want to figure out if I can guess at all what the hell is happening. So yeah, I mean, overall, my critiques are minor. I have some frustrations with just not knowing more. I wish it was a little bit longer so they could have explained a few things, but overall, liked it. Definitely pick it up. It's worth a read, and see you next time.